You know, when I came to TNA, I was looking for that higher ground. I told Dixie Carter we can go somewhere where even Hulk Hogan's never been before. And EV2 took us to that place that we need to function on full time.
Nexus has taken over this company. The seventh member of Team WWE is Daniel Bryan.
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
Celebrating 12 years on the air and voted 2009 Broadcast Show of the Year. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. We're live Monday night, August 16, 2010, the night after WWE Summerslam and WWE Raw going off the air right now. A lot to talk about, including a special guest joining us in our second hour, Ken Anderson. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, as stated earlier. Damian Nelson here with Frank Cosentino, the Cos, and David Octavius, the Tiberius Hero. Rashi Brown not able to join us tonight. He'll be back next week right here on the program. But a lot to discuss tonight, David Herro, including you've asked for some time.
Well, I've asked for time. But look at this.
You made some vicious comments last night.
You know what? I made one comment. One
vicious comment. One that bears explaining, which we'll get to later on this evening.
Mm-hmm.
You can join the conversation. The number 276-ESPN, 276-3776, or all of the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN. We are also on Twitter. Our Twitter username is PWR Show. PWR Show on Twitter. We're going to get some of your Twitter comments during the show as well, so be sure to send us your thoughts on things there. We're also live in the chat room at pwrshow.com, the Chatmosphere, where the conversation continues all night long, and we'll pick some of the best comments there to discuss here on air. And it wouldn't be a WWE Raw if we didn't end the night with Justin Gabriel going up for his 450 splash.
I think this is what.
Is it a 450?
Yes, 450.
Find out in a minute here. As Daniel,
sixth time he's ending the show,
and nobody cares.
As Darren Young has been excommunicated from Nexus due to being the only one to lose a match tonight, as Nexus had to take on each of them had to take on a WWE superstar.
He lost to his half-brother.
The likes of Edge, Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, all defeated tonight. But, of course, the man who can survive a DDT onto a cement floor and then defeat several people, John Cena.
Wow, you're so negative about John Cena.
Darren Young. That was whoa.
Wow, pal.
What was wrong with that? All I did was cite what happened last night at WWE SummerSlam. Now, we said as Raw happened tonight that something big needed to happen at the end of Raw, which is what we're sort of waiting for here. Yeah. Otherwise, this show goes in the long list of Raws where at the end of the episode, nothing really happened.
This was a NyQuil Raw.
A what?
A NyQuil Raw.
I thought you said a Nitro Raw.
No, a NyQuil. Can put you to sleep.
We still got time here, though. We got time.
No, something happens. A member of Nexus.
Nothing's going to happen.
Who cares?
Kicked out.
Who cares? He's kicked out because he looks like John Cena. He's going to get put in the waiting room until John Cena needs some time off. And then, you ever see the movie Soul Man?
Yes.
Oh yeah, long time ago.
With C. Thomas Howell. Is that who it was?
Yes. Just think about it. Reverse it. Maybe that's what we're going to have again. And Raw goes off the air with nothing happening. Wow. All right, let's talk about the Raw that was tonight. That's very disappointing.
When are you going to learn?
I don't know. It's not as disappointing as you're making it.
Frank, you got a fever? That was terrible.
No,
we opened the show. We opened the show with Nexus in the ring, telling us about how their loss last night has done nothing but make them more vengeful. And WWE would pay the price tonight. And that they would emerge from Raw tonight stronger than ever. John Cena comes out and actually in a very comical fashion runs them all down, including saying to Darren Young that, acknowledging the fact that they look so much alike, which I don't think had been done before.
No.
He goes down, runs down everybody individually, and then we find out from the first of many general manager emails tonight that each of the members of Nexus would have a one-on-one battle with a WWE superstar. The GM also announcing via Michael Cole that they get to pick who they're going to wrestle. Wade Barrett then announces that whoever loses is no longer a part of Nexus. So here's my question. If I'm faced with this ultimatum to face a WWE superstar, and it's my choosing, am I going to pick Randy Orton, Edge, Chris Jericho, John Cena?
I'm going to pick Papi
I might pick
Chulo.
R-Truth.
I'm picking Papi Chulo.
Santino or something.
I mean, yeah, that's the point.
Right.
Is what sense did it make picking all the top guys? Of course, it would have been a worse show had they picked those guys. But it was a Santino-free Raw, by the way.
It would have made Nexus just showed them very weak for them to picking out guys like that. So then they get the wins like they did tonight. Some of them were weak with countouts, but we'll discuss the ending here soon. But as bad as you guys are making it out to be.
Frank, did you see all of it, or did you miss about 30 minutes of it?
I watched the last hour and a half.
You know what the best part of Raw was? Foxy won and Gail Kim didn't get pinned. That was it.
They're taking out the weakest link of Nexus, and that's what they've done.
I don't think Darren Young is the weakest link.
Well, but they're showing us that if you lose, you're out, and that's what they're going for. That's the only thing I could think of.
Let's run down the matches and the results of them. Obviously, Nexus winning just about all of them. Wade Barrett defeating Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was Wade Barrett's coach on Season 1 of NXT.
In a clean pin.
Yeah.
Which makes Wade Barrett, puts him up on a different level.
But he has to. He's the leader of Nexus.
Right. But
and that was a big win over Jericho.
Very big.
A former multi-time world champion. Unified tag team champion.
Tarver beats Daniel Bryan, and if you don't know, Daniel Bryan returning to WWE last night at SummerSlam and a part of Raw tonight, and we'll talk much more about SummerSlam in just a few minutes here. But Daniel Bryan losing due to the interference by Alex Riley and The Miz.
Predictable, but you knew that's where they're going.
You know what? They could have done a reset with Nexus and had a few more guys lose. It was just too gimmicky, too campy, too 80s-ish. You know?
But is that really such a bad thing?
Here's the thing, okay?
What's the thing?
How many times have we watched wrestling where there's been a count-out victory? On one show.
Recently? It doesn't happen that often.
Okay, and how many times was there a count-out victory tonight?
2 or 3 times?
3 or 4?
2 or 3.
It's ridiculous. I mean, wrestling fans aren't stupid.
No, but the challenge that WWE has off of a pay-per-view is to make the next night mean something.
And they didn't.
I'll agree with you there. Not totally.
Justin Gabriel defeats Randy Orton. Sheamus interfering.
You know what was funny about that?
What was funny about
that? When I
that?
heard Orton's music, I'm like, oh, good luck, pal.
I believe your quote was, goodbye, pal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
But see, but with several matches, you thought that there might be a loss for Nexus, and it wasn't. So did it or did it not actually keep you intrigued? Maybe you're doing this on the subconscious level.
It didn't make Nexus strong by winning by countout.
No, but they're not part. Randy Orton has nothing to do with Nexus. He has everything.
Then he
to do
shouldn't
with,
have been in the match.
Well, what they're trying to do is get Sheamus in there, and then.
You know what? Gabriel should have worked Evan Bourne. That would have been a great match. I would have rather seen that.
That would have been a good match.
You know?
Sheffield
Bring out Ted DiBiase. They're trying to elevate that guy.
They don't know what to do with him.
Sheffield and Otunga beat Morrison and R-Truth.
You know, I think Sheffield's going to be a star.
He was presented very favorably last night at SummerSlam along with a couple of other members of Nexus. We'll get to that in a minute.
He's a more athletic warlord.
It kind of reminds me a
Really?
little of Batista.
Yeah.
Got a
Really?
little Batista in him. A little bit. Not a lot.
You know,
a little bit.
I was in the Dells this weekend.
Uh-huh.
I was at Walmart.
Uh-huh.
I saw the David Bautista movie with Rob Van Dam for $9.
You buy it?
No.
You're
Couldn't
too
believe
busy
it.
scooping up all those Cody Rhodes action figures.
Yeah,
That's what was going on.
My credit
Yeah, that was
limit.
for the bonfire. Plastic does melt.
Continuing on Raw, Darren Young, as we said, taps out to John Cena. He is out of Nexus, but a couple of other things on Raw tonight. The tag team, the champions, the unified tag team champions, the Hart Dynasty comes out, and we get an email from the general manager, and Steve Jobs says that there are no longer unified tag team titles.
Steve Jobs is the GM now?
What's a Mac?
I had no idea.
Says that it's no longer the unified titles. It is the WWE tag team titles. And out to deliver brand new championship belts, Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, there wasn't
Is
a
that the
tag
last time we're
match.
going to see Bret on TV now for a while?
Well, the general manager said he does not and never has liked Bret Hart, and we will never see him wrestle on Raw again.
Well,
I don't know
what?
if we've seen him wrestle
I don't
on
think
Raw.
anyone's going to be upset about that either. I mean, Bret Hart is a freaking legend.
Yeah.
And you know what? The way he had his, 45 seconds last night,
Uh-huh.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
he
oh, yeah,
looked
that makes
good in
sense.
the ring. His punches looked good. Everything that Bret did looked good except for his gear. I like the whole deal.
Enough with the jean shorts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, this whole GM thing, and I know you'll get to it soon, but just the whole idea of him throwing out these lines of "I hate Bret Hart."
Don't you like to be teased, Frank?
Well, no. Well, you try to figure it out and then just forget it because one of his lines was, that's the bottom line because the GM says so, and
A couple
stuff
weeks
like
ago,
that.
yeah.
Something along the lines of Triple H. I don't remember the exact line, or with DX that he said. So whoever the GM is he a comedian?
Or a comedian. Did you watch the David Hasselhoff roast?
A little bit. Hogan was awful.
We just got an email from a listener in Milwaukee, actually, to that point, Frank. Gentleman's name is Eric. He says, do you think Shawn Michaels could be the new Raw general manager? They've hinted at the general manager with, quote, unquote, got 2 words for you in an email, and tonight they said he doesn't like Bret Hart.
He does like Bret. They hugged it out, remember?
That's right.
They're
did.
cool. Shawn Michaels is home with his family. He's not coming back to play a general manager.
I mean, not anytime soon.
No, and honestly, who would want to see that? Do you?
No,
I don't want to
really.
see Shawn Michaels. Here's why. Shawn Michaels comes out, they're going to try to set up a match for him down the road also. He's done.
How about the team of Alex Riley and The Miz? Not coach and pro, but the team. Not wrestling tag team, but the team.
I don't know. I think they should push Miz as a singles wrestler.
No,
from this
Miz
point
needs a
forward.
lackey.
No,
he
no,
needs a jobber.
He needs somebody with him, but not in tag matches.
Right, exactly.
Just keep him going because he is now the top heel.
And the benefits of that
in WWE.
the top heel, the benefits of him having a lackey are as follows, David Herro.
Well, the Miz has his own Cody Rhodes right now. He does. He has a guy that can go out there and do the jobs for him, and the Miz, can still be the star. Much like the way Randy Orton had Legacy. Didn't Cody Rhodes come out with a Letterman's
so
jacket?
Do you not remember that there were 3 members of Legacy?
Yeah, it was Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and then his tag team partner.
You're just vicious
I'm honest.
and malicious at times.
I'm honest. That's what it comes down to. Did he or did he not come out with a Letterman's jacket?
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes.
at one point.
Yeah.
One of the Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
How did we get here? How did we get here?
we're talking about job guys for the Miz.
Okay.
And the Letterman's jacket made me think of the dashing one.
He had the ear thing. He's Rick
Mhm.
Steiner.
And bark on the dog,
Right.
bark on the ring, kneeling like
And
a
you know
dog.
what? There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't.
But in a lot of those matches, we talked about the matches with Nexus tonight, and a lot of those matches, it was outside interference that made some sense, continuing storylines. Did that detract and take strength away from Nexus, or did it help overall, or at the end of the day, does it not matter how they won, just a matter that they did win and come out still 6 strong?
You know what? Next week when we're watching Raw, we're going to forget that Randy Orton lost by countout and that Edge lost by countout. And who else lost by countout? Somebody else did.
Two.
Is that it? See, I've already forgotten.
But eventually, the Nexus has to break up. It's been going on for 3 months.
No, they don't have to break up. They need to get a big victory. That's what they got to do.
They got 5 of 6 or whatever it was tonight.
But look how they won.
It doesn't matter how they're doing.
No, it does,
winning.
Frank, because if I'm Joe Wrestling fan sitting at home right now tonight, I could care less. Wow, these guys, they didn't beat anybody.
No, Wade Barrett had a big win over Chris Jericho.
But everyone else beat nobody.
Well, R-Truth and Morrison
Everyone else beat nobody.
Right. Here's the thing. I don't want to hear anybody complain that Sheamus never gets a big win as the world champion, because Nexus is doing the same thing, and it seems like the two of you find that to be acceptable.
A couple of comments coming to us on our Twitter account. Again, our Twitter name, PWR Show. One sent to us during that matchup between John Cena and Darren Young. This sent from Andy Criddle, who says it was Super Cena versus Bizarro.
I could see that.
And then Dancing's Buzz saying, wow, what has Raw proven so far coming off SummerSlam?
You made the point of Raw being too 80-ish. And I'm going to add to that saying that John Cena is the new Hulk Hogan.
Shush your mouth.
It is.
Do not go there.
No, but it's what's happened. He basically can get DDT'd on a concrete floor, and then just get up and make.
Hulk Hogan never got up from that. He would have sold it for 6 months and come back to make it mean something on Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah, but they have too many shows now. They have to.
Do not compare Cena to Hogan. Hogan would have done business the right way. He still would have won in the end.
Yeah, Cena did business the right way. You saw the front and back of his new purple shirt tonight.
When have you ever had any sympathy for John Cena?
The kids do.
Never. No. Even when Nexus beat him the first time in the middle of the ring and they tore the whole place apart, there was no sympathy for John Cena.
Should he wear ace bandages around his midsection for 3 months?
Yes. Do not walk to the ring like nothing happened.
But he's super.
Hulk Hogan gets avalanched by King Kong Bundy 3 or 4 times and a few splashes, and Hulkster is out for 6 months.
And you know what was
No. He did that, and like 3 weeks later was WrestleMania.
No,
it wasn't. You know what's interesting about that?
4 or 5
They
weeks.
had a house show match here in Milwaukee.
And he had the band.
And he was still selling the gimmick. No, Hogan was there.
He was there.
No, he wasn't. Hogan was not there. No, Hogan. I was at that one.
It was a cage match between Hogan and Bundy.
No, it wasn't.
It
was Beefcake. Beefcake. You know what? I'll prove it later. I know I'm right.
Oh, of course you know you're right.
Of course I'm right.
Michael Cole had a lot of things, obviously, to say. Good about The Miz, bad about Daniel Bryan. He's getting a little bit of personality.
You know what? He lost the personality, and then also now that Daniel Bryan's back, now he's back to that guy again.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense to me at all.
None?
He has this animosity towards one guy.
Remember what got JR over? In addition to his amazing abilities, it was that whole thing with Dr. Death back in 1999.
But there you go. Amazing abilities.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Exactly. But doesn't it take something at times for those abilities to get noticed?
You know what? Here's the thing, though. When JR did it, he wasn't nagging.
Got you a little mousse in your hair.
Right. When JR did it,
can't be that way.
When JR did it, here's that word again. There was an emotional investment in it.
Absolutely.
Right, but
Cole's just being he's being an ex-wife. Yeah. I didn't want to say
by Dave.
I didn't want to say the 5-letter word on there.
Oh, wow,
my attorney is not listening.
You can join us, 276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN. We want to welcome all of you joining us in the blogtalkradio.com chat room as well, and also listening to us on Blog Talk Radio. By the way, I don't know if you know, Frank, but we are currently we're the most popular sports program on Blog Talk Radio. Second most popular sports program and most popular wrestling program. So thanks to everybody
to the listeners
who tuned in to that, including the thousands of you who tuned in for our SummerSlam wrap-up show just last night,
awesome.
Right after the pay-per-view. It was a fun show.
You know what? Before we go any further, I made a little wager yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say.
With Frank's bookie?
Dude, you can't talk about that on the air. Damn it. Canadian April was right.
Let me check my notes.
I'm just saying, Canadian April was right. She picked a winner, one opposite of me. Politics got involved, and of course I lost, but, you know.
She's Canadian.
She's Canadian. So, yeah, she chose Melina.
When we come back, we're going to talk about WWE SummerSlam in its entirety, and joining us in the second hour, for the whole hour, Ken Anderson
when did
from
I get my
TNA
5 minutes?
Wrestling. Sometime between now and then. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com.
Proves my point.
As you listen to Daniel Bryan,
Who?
his theme song, rather.
Who's this?
You know, I got to say, to that point, David Herro, as we talk, getting ready to talk about SummerSlam from last night, I was a little surprised at the lack of reaction both last night and tonight for the returning Daniel Bryan.
Because he's been forgotten.
Just that fast?
Yeah, of course.
I'd blame it on the LA fans.
Wow.
I think if it was somewhere else,
17,000 of them?
if there was somewhere else, for whatever reason, and LA's a great city.
LA's not a wrestling town.
Have you all seen WrestleMania 7? Bobby Heenan said this has to be the loudest WrestleMania I've ever been to.
It was not the staple.
Well, yeah, that was like the 7th one he's ever been to.
The Forum.
You know? I'm sure he's been to a lot of ones since then.
I was just a little surprised. No, not much of a
Because
reaction for
LA's
Daniel
a
Bryan.
great city, and they got great people, but it's
That's
just
not what you said off the air, buddy.
Oh, don't get me in trouble, man.
I'm not trying to. You're ridiculous.
David Herro, you made a point referenced WWE Raw tonight when John Cena and Darren Young were wrestling that there was one spot they should have did that they never did, which was David Herro. Hi.
I'm listening. Sorry, you know what? I'm trying to get some hot news here.
It's this week's vintage video.
Oh, Doink versus Dizoink? That's what I was hoping to see. I wanted to see that kind of a match. You know, the whole mirror gimmick and everything. That would have been great.
That's this week's vintage video at PWRshow.com. You can see that classic moment. The actual match was Doink versus Crush at WrestleMania 9.
It was Crush. Well, you know what? At that time, Crush was a Doink.
When the fake arm was the fake arm was used as a weapon.
Yeah, Kona Crush.
The loaded arm.
Let's talk about WWE SummerSlam last night on pay-per-view. You know the big stories coming out of it, the return of Daniel Bryan to WWE and the return of The Undertaker and a new Divas champion. Let's go over it match by match.
Why do you got to say it like that? You know, you say that to be hurtful.
I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm just simply reporting the news.
That's fine. You know, it's a touchy subject, and you got to go there.
What, do you want me to not mention the fact that Alicia Fox
we
got
don't have to
defeated
talk
for the
about
Divas
it.
Championship?
We don't have to talk about it.
There are some fans that may want to know that didn't watch.
They don't.
Or listen to our SummerSlam wrap-up.
They listened to us last night, and they saw the tweets. Skip it.
The Intercontinental Championship was on the line. Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. Frank, we heard your thoughts on that match on those YouTube video updates last night. That match, which would end with no clear victor, as Nexus came out and attacks both Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. It was a good match up until that point, and I will say it again. There is no one in the business right now who bumps as well as Dolph Ziggler.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
all right.
That's all I'm saying.
He does a pretty good job at taking bumps. I would agree with that. I don't know if he's the best at it.
Cody's good at removing bumps if you watch his dashing tips.
Last week it was earwax.
Oh, see, I don't pay attention to his stuff.
Melina versus Alicia Fox for the
Here we
Divas
go.
Championship. Melina comes back looking like a little bit of the gobbledygooker.
What was she wearing? Was it a showgirl outfit or like? I mean,
LA
Thanksgiving's
is
not
only
for a
4
few more
hours away
months.
from Vegas.
Tataka wants
Hey,
to
how
go.
are you?
Wants
My God,
stuff back.
I wasn't pleased about that.
She had a nice outfit on, though.
You know what? She did.
It fit well.
And when she came out dressed like that, I was like, God, here we go. It's over. You know, because whenever you come out like
Her
that,
hometown.
and
Well, she just came back from a major injury. She gets to dress up like.
And that's the
Gobbly
problem.
Gooker.
You come back from a major injury and you still haven't lost a step. Let her chase for a while.
If her opponent,
you're just bitter.
If her opponent were anyone else, Gail Kim excluded, would you be saying the same thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Come on, man.
I'm serious. See,
now, let me do it. I can't do Rashi, but
no.
Come on, man.
What?
Wow.
What?
You got some
Frank.
bass in your voice there, huh?
Frank, just because what's on TV is what's on TV does not mean you have the right to do what you just did.
Did you hear the beginning of
He's
it?
connected. I wouldn't piss him off, okay? But listen, here's the thing. This is part of my rant. Nothing means
Your 5
anything
minutes have not
anymore.
started yet.
I'm not even going. I'm just saying nothing means anything anymore.
Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society. It was a handicap match. Been a while since we've seen one of those. Very lopsided, obviously in the favor of the Straight Edge Society. The Straight Edge Society loses to the Big Show.
How disappointing is that? Honest to God, I feel terrible for CM Punk. This guy can't win either.
They're just lost right now with him.
There's no way Joey Mercury, Luke Gallows, and CM Punk with the lovely, beautiful, fabulous Serena at ringside should lose to the Big Show. There's no way.
I can't disagree with you there. I just don't think they know what to do with. I don't know. It's been a while with that group together.
No,
Going into it,
they're not even a year old.
That's a while. It's a long time in the wrestling business.
David
Everyone's sick of Nexus. It's been 2.5 months. They want it over and done with.
Legacy was together for a year and a half.
And look what that did for Cody Rhodes.
Nothing. Nothing. He's nowhere. He stands in front of a mirror.
He has a
Plucks
logo.
his no hair.
He has
through
an
the snow.
entrance. He's got a nickname. He's got his own segments.
He's got his own show.
Do you realize, David Herro, the first 2 matches you picked nobody right?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, And
it's a conspiracy theory.
Well, of
against
course
me.
it was. Of course it was. I did pick Big Show to win that matchup because it.
You know
made
what?
The most sense at the time to me.
I picked how it should have gone.
That again. You've already used that one.
But I'll use it again because it's the honest to God truth.
You know what we're going to do from now on? No.
Wait. How does Big Show benefit from winning?
It shows how strong he is.
But he doesn't. He's the freaking giant. He doesn't need to be strong anymore. Okay? He's made more money than God in this business. He's had more world championships than most of those guys.
Yeah.
Establish the younger stars, and they don't do it.
Here's what we're going to do.
This is why that
Nexus
company
is
failed.
all young. They're all young Nexus
Here's
guys
what we're
are.
going to do from now on. On our prime times before pay-per-views, it's you and me and a chalkboard.
I booked the
And
pay-per-view?
you're booking the pay-per-view
Good.
because you're always talking about how it should go.
Right. It should go that way.
And you're going to book it.
I'm not
Well,
the
no
only one that
matches-
feels that way.
You can even move people around and remake. No, you can't remake matches. You're just booking how the match.
Yeah,
how it
fine.
should go.
I'll book the show how
How
it
it
would sell.
should go.
And then
your
everyone
prediction.
can say, "I respect you, Booker man."
There you go. That's all I need to hear. You know I'm right.
Booker-
You both know I'm right.
Booker D.
Big Show did not have to win. I mean, where's he going to go from here now?
Nowhere.
Okay.
But that's what
See?
pay-per-views are for.
But
Phil.
no. See, you do pay-per-views to build guys to go to the next program. Taker's not going to go wrestle Kane now. Right now, Big Show should wrestle Kane for the world title. He just beat 3 guys. Right?
Well,
Right?
Joey Mercury is like.
Joey Mercury's a star, and I'm pointing at you because you know that to be
Joseph
true.
Mercury.
He's a star.
He's good. I'm not
Gentlemen,
going to.
Joey Mercury is one of the most talented wrestlers in the company.
I will agree with you on that. But I just don't think WWE knows what they want to do with the straight edge.
Don't
society
you
here.
think John Morrison would love to have Joey Mercury back as his tag team partner instead of the Truth?
Yes.
They've already been there and done
Yes.
that.
Yeah. See? Okay.
Oh, did you ask if I would like that or if John Morrison?
The world.
Would you book that then?
What do you mean would I book that then? Mercury and Morrison back together with
Yeah.
Melina? Absolutely. They were a great team.
They were.
Imagine Eminem versus the Hart Dynasty right now. That would be solid. I'm just saying.
Sheamus confronts Kane, and Sheamus says he's going to be the new Big Red Monster.
Yes. Yes. Time for Kane to move it, just to move along.
And then the promo of the night. If not month, if not year.
Oh, boy.
The Miz announces his decision. He announces his decision as to whether or not he will join Team WWE.
And it goes. And it goes.
Well,
something
and
like
it
that.
goes.
Well, let me make
and
sure
it
everybody
goes.
knows what happened. Everybody on
He
team,
forgot his lines is what happened.
Everybody
He
on
I would
team.
be surprised if that was the case.
Everybody on team, he's an actor. He's not going to forget his lines. Everybody in...
What? It's live TV.
He's a reality show guy. They're not actors.
He's transitioned.
Evil.
Everyone on Team WWE apologized and gave props to The Miz, John Cena. John Morrison even saying he realized that he was the Jannetty of the team when they were a team together. R-Truth even saying that he raps better.
You know what? Why is it always Jannetty? Why can't it be Jim Neidhart?
While he certainly got the short stick, it wasn't as short as Jannetty's.
I don't know. Jannetty never dressed up under a hood called who? Right?
I still think that was a take on Doctor Who.
No, it's because there was a rib on Neidhart because he thought he was a big star. I'm like, who? Who is he?
The Miz announces that he will indeed join Team WWE and would be their 7th member later tonight.
Why couldn't it be Boris Zukov?
We would find out, of course, that would not be the
Kato
case.
or Tanaka. Why
the World Wrestling Entertainment Championship on the line as Sheamus defends against Randy Orton in what I thought, Dave and Frank, was a very good match. But the question I ask, is Randy Orton starting to get a little annoying?
Yeah.
Annoying?
He's driving me freaking nuts with his Tourette's. Constantly shaking, screaming, yelling.
I wouldn't say it was annoying, but, man, I'm going to say it for the millionth time. You pay good money to watch a pay-per-view. At least your championship match, pick a winner. Enough with, or we'll carry the storyline.
Would you say that match, the ending sucked?
Absolutely. Well, we try not to say anything sucks.
Oh, yeah. Well, David, when he was brought on board to this program, you get your welcome packet, the books and the rules and regulations and whatnot. Well, there's a little packet or a little electronic sensor in there to determine when it was open for contractual reasons, and his still hasn't been open.
No DQs on pay-per-views.
That kind of rhymed there, champ.
That's your pet peeve, Frank.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. Just we pay good money.
Or would you rather have disqualifications or commercials?
No commercials either, and then disqualifications. Just you pick a winner. You could have had Sheamus win the match, and then Randy Orton get pissed off and do the same thing.
Whoa, you're getting hot about this.
I am. I hate DQs.
You know what though? But here's the thing: a pay-per-view should just be a jacked-up Raw.
A pay-per-view should be something where you see something you don't see at a Raw. At least something where you go,
You guys
wow.
are talking about pay-per-views when there were 4 a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different now. It's a different world.
It's a rip-off.
Different world. That was another reality show, wasn't it? Or a Cosby spinoff or something?
It's not a reality show. We got a couple people waiting on hold. We'll get to you guys in a minute, and keep in mind, coming up in about 20 minutes' time, our guest, Ken Anderson.
Whoa. Hold on a
TNA
second.
Wrestling.
I almost forgot. For our local Milwaukee wrestling fans out and about around town, the MIAW, the group founded by Angel Armani, trainer of the Stars, is going to have their Summer Sizzler at Papa Luigi's next Sunday, August 29th at 5 o'clock. It's an outdoor show.
Nice.
It's going to be hot out there, and Angel Armani is going to be working.
Always puts on a good show.
Yes, along with Silas Young, Dysfunction.
Support your local independents.
And you know what?
It's
$10. You can't beat that.
Nope.
But then, of course, this Sunday, the PWR event of the year.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the world title match and a little bit of an error during that match by WWE last night. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
So John Cena goes purple, and Mysterio inherits the orange.
Miz is blue.
Cena went Laker colors.
Kane has a red coffin.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com, PWRShow.com, and on Blog Talk Radio.
I'm giving it to you. Go ahead. Make your little funny ha-ha joke.
What joke?
About my tweet last night.
What tweet last night?
Jesse Jackson, the Rainbow Collision. You know what absolutely drives me nuts is I'll make comments, and they're not meant to be mean or vengeful, and the next thing you know, it's at the Black Pope is now a part of my tweet. Or at Jesse Jackson is on my tweet. It's like it's not meant for them. It's meant for my
social media.
Yeah, but what in the blue hell? Seriously.
What the blue mean is going
I
on?
mean, I'm not trying to pick fights with anybody.
But it's the reason to follow PWR Show on Twitter.
Man.
You never know what you're going to...
And each of us on Twitter individually as well.
On a weekly basis. Not even getting kissed first. This is bad.
Are the lights on? This match, though, between Rey Mysterio and Kane at SummerSlam last night, SLOW slew. And I guess going into it, I just didn't care about it one bit. It was so obvious what was going to happen, which did happen at the end of the matchup, as Kane won and retained the title. The Undertaker returns to WWE.
Rey Mysterio has checked out. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't.
He's just going through the motions.
And they booked this match terrible, if you think about it. How many different big power move finishers did Kane hit Rey Mysterio with, and he couldn't beat him?
Oh, it was a tombstone that ultimately took him out.
Oh, yeah, but there was just so much before that.
Right. Here's the funny thing about this match is a lot of people were saying that it could be Kane and Undertaker at WrestleMania.
No, it won't go that long.
Well, now it's like, no way. It's 6 months away. It's never going to happen.
As much as I would love to see a storyline build up, I don't want to see that.
But we're going to. As evident by last night.
Well, that would be. Don't you think it'd be too long?
You know what? The best part about SummerSlam was the Undertaker. He looked like he truly was not well.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, for a guy that's normally pale to begin with, he looked kind of clammy pale.
Well, but let's talk about the backstory here. An eye for an eye.
Yeah.
Kane blaming it on Mysterio.
Well, he did.
Well, the story behind the story,
right,
is it was Rey Mysterio who took the Undertaker out in a match where the Undertaker broke his orbital bone.
And you know what? Why does Rey Mysterio act like he's 9 years old? You know? He's always begging off.
How does he act like he's 9 years old?
Because he's begging off all the time.
Doesn't come down to the ring with a popsicle in his hand?
Well, no. I mean,
Stop playing with Cody Rhodes action figures on the way to the ring.
He's a former world champion.
2 times.
He's beaten Kevin Nash. He's beaten some of the biggest guys in wrestling. And Undertaker has him backed in the corner, and he's like acting like he's like a kid in grade school.
But 5 minutes before then, he's getting slammed like crazy by Kane.
He's resilient, though. He should have been back up.
You know what he is.
Could have hulked up.
During this matchup, we started.
Guys wearing hoods, hulking up all the time.
We started getting a lot of feedback from our fans on the PWR universe.
Oh, wait a minute! Do you put the hood over your head now? I mean,
we changed.
Should I be concerned
for you
about
already?
our walk by traffic for some reason? Hey, Tillman, I want a hood also.
Classes did just start up at Marquette down the street, Marquette University.
Yeah, good luck, kids.
Got some wanderers tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge or no bridge?
Stay east.
Always.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
During this matchup, we started getting some feedback from our listeners out there that all of a sudden at WWE.com, a vintage profile had been made available again. Daniel Bryan's profile back on WWE.com at that moment. We checked it. We confirmed it. We looked. We said, oh, this is not an archive.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's amazing how smart our fans are.
Yeah. Why would you check that? That's the part I don't understand. But thank God they did.
Because there was small rumors that he could be at the show.
Very quiet rumors.
Very quiet. So people are like, you know what?
And nothing official. It was more so speculation, much like the Undertaker thing, which, of course, was much more founded. But
No. You got to think there's millions of wrestling fans, and you knew that just one guy is going to sit there and just hit refresh. I want to be the first guy to say.
You did a hell of a job last night.
Did.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
This information gets out. Of course, it goes wild on social media. I don't know if Jesse Jackson was aware or not, but it was out there.
I don't think the Black Pope was either, but who knows?
And then it was the main event. Nexus versus Team WWE. It was an elimination-style matchup. The Miz not permitted to be part of the team. John Cena saying he waited too long. And his replacement was Daniel Bryan, who returns to WWE after what might be the work of the century.
No, the work of the century was Brian Pillman.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Two references to that tonight on the show.
Yes. You know what? Good for Daniel Bryan. They brought him back the right way.
Yep.
Big pay-per-view, brought back by the guy who he spat in the face of. You know?
And you have your storyline.
Justin
right away.
Roberts looked a little nervous, though, didn't he?
Boy, loosened his tie.
Yeah.
A little bit.
They just worked that so well.
It
was
did.
all
You
very
got
well
to
done.
give credit for that.
I did not sit down to watch SummerSlam last night with any inkling or any thought that Daniel Bryan would be part of the show.
I didn't either.
Just never crossed my mind.
I thought maybe Vince would have been number 7.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I heard they kept it a good secret, too, for the most part.
it is John Cena at the end against several members of Team Nexus.
See, that's how irrelevant they are because they haven't been built up that you forgot their names.
Oh, it was
Wade
Justin
Barrett
Gabriel,
and Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. Justin. So
Same difference.
Cena eliminates them both. Barrett actually tapping out, and John Cena once again is stronger than man himself.
And that's when I tweeted, "This sucks."
There's a video out there of Jimmy Snuka taking
Shuba
I think it was not Pat Patterson,
Well, it could have been.
but he takes 2 pile drivers basically on the cement floor. And
Colonel De Beers.
could have been Colonel De Beers.
How do you get Colonel De Beers mixed up with Pat Patterson?
No, it wasn't Pat Patterson. It was
Colonel De Beers.
no, it wasn't Colonel De Beers.
Damien, help me here.
We must get to the phones, and then
I'll find
right
it.
at the top of the hour, your 5 minutes are coming, and
You know
then
what?
after that, Ken Anderson.
I don't need it anymore.
No, you do.
You're down to 4.5
You,
now.
you want to do the old bait and switch, huh?
No, I don't bait and switch.
Let's go out to Virginia. Caller on line 3. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey guys, it's Lottie. What's up?
What's going on, my man?
Not much. What is up with Alicia Fox getting screwed out of her Diva title? I mean, Melina just comes back and they hand her the belt. That is so not cool.
Caller of the week.
And then I have one other question. Now that Nexus has attacked Kofi Kingston, do you guys think that they're going to do something involving the SmackDown brand and Nexus just in time for the move to Sci-Fi?
Possible.
No, that's got some merit.
SmackDown does.
Thanks for that call,
They
lady.
do need some new talent. But I don't know.
Like
I mean,
half the guys at Nexus will go over there.
I mean, look, poor Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, feuding with Randy Orton, gets demoted to SmackDown, gets beat up in an IC title match.
Let's go to Glenn down in Orlando, Florida. You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey guys,
What's up,
Well,
Glenn?
what do you guys think about Taker and Kane? What would you see them having to do differently to make it new, fresh, and wanting to watch? And if you can, who is the bigger star, Randy Orton or John Cena?
Thank you for that call, Glenn down in Orlando. I think his question was, who's the biggest star right now, John Cena or Cody Rhodes?
John Cena.
Yeah, it's Cena still.
Yeah, John Cena, and then there's everybody else after that.
Orton is very popular.
But he's
But
not
Orton's
John Cena.
not John Cena, right?
No.
Exactly. And what I mean by that is, who's making more money for WWE right now? David Herro?
Well, it's John Cena, and here's why: because kids can't relate with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
They can't. But
And as far as Undertaker and Kane, I'm like, how do you?
that
make
has to be a loser retires match. That's got to be a buried alive match where then Kane is retiring.
Royal
Buried
Rumble?
Alive. No.
Why not?
Casket match, Buried Alive match, Inferno match. I'm done. I'm
Oh,
done.
you know what? They probably can't have a buried alive match on the PG show.
I'm done. Cena talked about the ratings
How
tonight.
about
by
a
the way.
very dead match?
That might have to work. Can't do an Inferno match. I can't light guys on fire anymore.
Does it go all the way to WrestleMania, and does Kane?
No, it's
No.
8 months.
Really?
No, not
Damien.
I'm just asking a question. stimulating discussion.
If A-Train and Heidenreich couldn't beat him, Kane's not going to beat him.
When we come back, David Herro's 5 minutes to explain his comments saying WWE SUX, and Ken Anderson will be our guest. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
You know, when I came to TNA, I was looking for that higher ground. I told Dixie Carter we can go somewhere where even Hulk Hogan's never been before. And EV2 took us to that place that we need to function on full time.
Nexus has taken over this company. The seventh member of Team WWE is Daniel Bryan.
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
Celebrating 12 years on the air and voted 2009 Broadcast Show of the Year. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report. We're live Monday night, August 16, 2010, on 540 ESPN and, of course, on ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. Damian Nelson, David Herro, and the Kaz here with you tonight. And coming up in just a few moments, our special guest. It's been a while since he's been on. Our special guest is Ken Anderson of TNA Wrestling. But just a moment ago, we were talking about WWE SmackDown, and we had a poll up at PWRshow.com asking, what did you think of WWE SummerSlam? And the results are in. 80%. That's overwhelming. 80% gave it a passing grade. 14% said it failed, and only 6% said they did not watch. So overall, the community out there, the Internet Wrestling community, seems to have enjoyed WWE SummerSlam. Now, David Herro, WWE SummerSlam last night prompted you to put out a pretty provoking comment. That comment was, WWE sucks. And there's been a lot of question and comment about that comment. So, David Herro, you've asked for and you've been granted a sum of 5 to explain.
Well, here's the thing. I've been a wrestling fan for 30-plus years. I've invested time. I've invested money, emotionally, whatever. I did promotional work with both companies in the late 90s. I saw how back then it was fun, where every guy on the roster meant something, where you could watch the Hollies crash in hardcore, and they had a chance to beat the Rock and Sock Connection, to be the tag team champions. They don't do that anymore. They don't establish anything. There's no more chase. There's no more emotion. Everything is just so scripted and so boring, it's painful to watch. Now, I know that they can't go back to the 1980s when Macho Man took out Ricky Steamboat for 6 or 7 months, and they kept them apart until WrestleMania when they finally had the big match. I understand that. But come on. There's no way John Cena can take a DDT on the concrete floor and come back and win the match like nothing happened. There's no way.
No way?
No way. It's ridiculous. All it does is it shows everybody in the locker room that John Cena is bigger than that company because he cannot be beat.
So it was this one moment that put you to the point of WWE sucks?
Put me over the edge.
Huh.
And I'm not talking
about
the
proverbial straw?
It was. It truly was. And it was frustrating because, there's nothing wrong with John Cena losing that match. He just comes back a bigger star on Raw because eventually he will get his revenge. Now there's no reason to get revenge anymore. And look what happened tonight on Raw. Boring as hell. That was uneventful. The matches stunk. And, so, almost everyone in Nexus won. But they didn't do anything convincingly to make them look like bigger stars to me. They won cheap matches. That's all I got to say. Frustrated.
So your comment was WWE sucks.
Yes.
It wasn't that wrestling sucks.
No, I never said wrestling sucks. I said WWE sucks. And honest to God, they do. Put it this way, even WrestleMania, as amazing as that show is historically, we were there live. If it's not for Taker and Shawn Michaels, that's an average Monday Night Raw. There was something compelling about that. You know what? When Undertaker's gone and Triple H is gone and even Rey Mysterio, when those guys are gone, wrestling fans are going to miss it. Because now you just have guys like Randy Orton and John Cena who are just cookie cutout guys. Randy Orton does the same thing every week. John Cena talks in the same monotone voice every week. There's no more charisma. There's no more characters in wrestling anymore.
Does TNA suck?
It depends. It depends if they're going to pour strawberry jam over Rob Van Dam or not. Okay? If they're going to do that, then they absolutely suck too. I will give TNA credit on this, okay, is that Fortune, they buried Fortune on that one pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay? But they've brought them back to be strong now by taking out EV2.
Right.
I'll give them credit.
So why did you need 5 minutes to what did you get a lot of negative feedback to your comment last night?
A lot of people thought, wow, it's like, how can the guy that loves wrestling be so cynical on it? But that's why. I mean, when I have to watch Raw or Impact or pay-per-views with senior intern Cal, and I watch it because that's how I can watch it through his eyes to see what's working and what isn't.
Isn't it true, though, that given the exposure that you've had to the business and the amount of time you've been in the business, that it's a lot more difficult to get you to like anything about it?
Absolutely. A year ago, I was sitting down having lunch with Mick Foley. He goes, dude, you're cynical. For Mick Foley to say that, it's like, but it's true.
But here's also add to it. The things that you think should happen make sense and should happen. And what I think happens is, and maybe I'm wrong on this, the WWE universe out there, they will listen to a show like this or to message boards and say, well, of course, this is what's going to happen tonight. And to upset those fans and say, oh, yeah? Watch this. Hey, Cena, what I want you to do is take a DDT on the floor and win this thing because I want you to piss these fans off. Now, will that happen? I don't know. But everyone was pointing, well, it only makes sense for Nexus to win this. It only makes sense. And that's all I heard the whole night.
And that's what should have happened.
And that's what should have happened. So I agree with you as far as, I don't agree as far as WWE sucks.
Well, of course, because you're always vacationing in Switzerland.
You know what?
Money to be
Here's the other thing. Some people will say, well, what have you ever done in this business?
Oh,
okay.
Ooh.
I've been doing this since '96. Okay, and
potentially predating some of those people asking what you've ever done.
Pretty much. And to this date, I had the only wrestling store that was being catered to by both WCW and at the time WWF.
Right.
So obviously they respected my opinion.
They? Abyss is they?
Abyss is they. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. And yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's not like I'm some Johnny-come-lately. I've been there. I know what has worked in the past, and both companies shy away from it completely. And for me, that's frustrating because wrestling could be viable. Both companies could be making far more money, but there's too many egos involved. If you look at Raw, and I think we heard this once before from a guy almost a year ago, the same 5 guys. I'm not talking about the hamburger chain, and we'll talk to him later on kind of thing. But
to this point, Hardcore Justice, something I talked about, something I'm still proud to say I enjoyed. Still getting all kinds of heat for it.
You enjoyed it from a gimmick point of view.
Correct.
Not from a pure wrestling point of view.
Or looking at it from whether or not it was smart for TNA to do that, whether it was smart or not for them to go and throw away a TNA pay-per-view, whether it was smart for them to draw attention to something other than their brand. Throwing all that out the window, the 3 hours of wrestling, the 3-hour show was entertaining. At the end of the day, that's all we want.
Here's where TNA was smart with Hardcore Justice.
We'll talk more about Hardcore Justice with Ken Anderson in a minute, too, just so you know.
Okay,
I don't want you to spoil it.
I won't, but here's where they were smart about it. They built up these guys to mean something to new fans that really had not heard about them. And now they're going to use EV2 to get over their younger stars.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com, PWRShow.com, and the most popular wrestling program on Blog Talk Radio. Damian Nelson, the Kaz, and David Herro here with you live on Monday night, August 16, 2010. And David Herro, just a moment ago we were talking about TNA's Hardcore Justice as you gave your 5-minute dissertation, if you will, about your comments last night about World Wrestling Entertainment.
I said they suck.
You did, and you keep saying it.
Well, it's the truth.
We've got a very special guest on right now, and as a matter of fact, you don't just get to hear him, but you can meet him this Sunday, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. at Romines on South 27th Street here in Milwaukee. You can meet Ken Anderson of TNA Wrestling. What's that look for?
There was no look. 3 to 5 p.m. You can go ahead and advance register for that at PWRShow.com or BlizzardBrawl.com. But without further ado, our guest right now is one of our favorite guests of all time, Ken Anderson. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how many times do I have to tell you that it's Mr. Anderson?
Gosh, at least you can't slap me this time.
There's
when you
a
tell
memo,
me.
pal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report, Mr. Anderson.
I hear water trickling. What the hell is going on over there?
I hope it's water trickling.
A couple minutes ago, you would have heard some ice cubes tinkling into a glass.
Oh, okay. Good experience, I'm guessing.
Cocktail night.
Well, I've been listening to you for the last 5 minutes, Dave, and I tell you, I need a drink. You're stressing me out.
I'm stressing myself out. It's ridiculous. It's it's to the point where you almost don't want to watch anymore. It's a good thing you're on the other channel right now.
Jeez, you're cynical.
I am cynical. I'm angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
To the Hulk.
Hey, speaking of angry, are you watching your newfound Jets tonight?
I turned it on for a couple minutes and I couldn't watch.
Did you see Eli Manning go hard way tonight?
Did he? I don't know.
Wow.
You gotta see it.
Ken, it kind of reminded me with you and your match against Batista.
Really?
That's how bad it looked, yeah.
Could see the white meat?
You can see the white meat, absolutely. Well, it's Eli Manning,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson, a lot to discuss tonight, and we want to go in several different directions. We're lucky enough to have you through the end of the program. We appreciate that time. First thing I think that needs to be discussed is the most recent pay-per-view offering by TNA Wrestling, and that would be Hardcore Justice.
Yep.
Last weekend on pay-per-view. A lot of very strong opinions about that show going into it and coming out of it from the view of a TNA superstar. What are your thoughts on the show, or what were your thoughts on the show going into it and then coming out of it, as we saw you were there watching on monitor in the back and being a part of TNA's Hardcore Justice?
Going into it, you don't know what to expect. We didn't know who they were using, other than the guys that had been on TV, but we didn't know how far they were going to take it, how many guys they were going to bring in eventually. It was actually kind of a treat to get there. I wasn't supposed to be there until the next day, but I flew in a night early, and I just happened to fly in right around 6 o'clock, 6:30, and I thought, hell, I'll go over to the building and check it out. And I got to say that I was, and Dave and I have talked about this, I was happy with Hardcore Justice. I really was. And I was happy from, there wasn't a lot of technical wrestling. No, there wasn't any technical wrestling, but...
Not even the lightsaber bit?
Well, that was pretty close. But it was just good to see those faces again, and you could tell that every one of those guys was out there having fun. And I don't know, to a degree, you can't go out there every match and put on a clinic. So I think it makes it special when AJ goes out there and puts on a clinic with somebody, with Kurt Angle,
Now, watching Hardcore Justice just as a spectator, as a fan, and going into it, I'll be flat honest with you, I saw no reason for it to be happening. I didn't think we needed another ECW nostalgia show, and wondered, well, why wouldn't TNA be worried about TNA going into their biggest pay-per-view of the year in just 2 months, Bound for Glory? But coming out of it, disregarding all that, it was an entertaining show. As you said, it wasn't a wrestling spotlight. It was an entertaining show that was just actually pretty cool to watch. And, every time I mention that, I get a lot of heat. A lot of people saying, am I crazy? What am I thinking? I'm not a real wrestling fan. But I think at times a lot of fans, a lot of us, get a little too wrapped up in the business of things and just can't sit back and watch and have fun. Me? No, I'm not talking about you, David. I mean, you're sitting right there, for God's sake. I wouldn't talk about you right here.
I think the thing about it for me was that I didn't know what to expect next.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd come to be pretty cynical like Dave, and it's just so cookie cutter sometimes nowadays.
Yeah.
It's the same old stuff. The guys talk the same. Guys, it's the same 20 or 30 stories recycled. It's like they have a really thin book, that they just, we're at the end of the book now. Let's flip back to the front.
Right.
They haven't seen it in a couple months, so they're wrestling fans. They'll forget about it. And for me, it was just, like I said, I didn't know what to expect. And again, just the fact that the guys were out there having fun meant that, I as a fan was having fun.
Well, and Ken, I mean, a year ago when you and I were talking, when you were debating what you wanted to do, if you wanted to go to TNA or not, you were considering just being done altogether because you weren't having fun.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't, and this is one opportunity. This is the difference with Dixie Carter is that Tommy Dreamer came to that company and said, "Will you give me this pay-per-view?" I don't even know if that's the way it went down. I don't know if he asked her or or if she just offered it up. But somewhere along the line, that opportunity was given to Tommy, where they said, "You know what? This is your baby. Go have fun with it. Show us what you got."
It seems as if a lot of the critics of that show don't know what ECW was and have nothing to relate it to and didn't know what to be looking for. So I'm not sure if a lot of the people who are criticizing it can be blamed because obviously TNA could only do so much to show what ECW was given its current ownership. But it seems, you look at, 10 years ago at least, when ECW was at the height of its popularity, and I would say many, if not most, of current wrestling fans became fans or are fans since that period.
Or now they're watching UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a huge batch of fans, though, that don't know anything about that era. There's a lot of brand new wrestling fans that just became wrestling fans in the last, 5 to,
10 years, yeah.
Not even 10, I would say. There's a lot of fans that I run into that don't even know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is, that never saw The Rock wrestle. Like, that blows my mind.
That's baffling.
But were you a fan of ECW when it was on?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I was also a fan of the other two companies, at the time. And it was just such a whirlwind at the time. Actually, I remember when I first got in, I didn't get into watching wrestling until about 96, 97. And at the time, the NWO thing had already run its course in WCW, and WWF was starting to, really
try.
Yeah, they were awesome. And I really loved watching WWF. And I wasn't a big fan of WCW. But as I got into the business, and it was introduced to the way that things work and what things to look for, and I started looking at it as an art form, actually. And, and then I started liking all three companies for different reasons. But I loved the original ECW. And I remember going to a few shows, and they were, some of the most fun experiences of my life. And then I was in the business at the time, so I wasn't hooting and hollering along with the fans, but just to watch them and that interaction, it was something special.
Now, a lot of people said, as we talk about Hardcore Justice, we obviously have to mention the former leader of ECW, Paul Heyman. A lot of people said you couldn't have an ECW reunion, if that's what Hardcore Justice was, without Paul Heyman. Well, just earlier today, Paul Heyman had some comments. It's been well documented that he's had conversations with TNA Wrestling. He was on MMAfighting.com earlier today and had some things to say about TNA Wrestling, such as, I'd like to get your take on some of these comments. Heyman said that, and I quote, TNA has held me back from TNA. They are not ready for me. He goes on to say, I have no plans, and it's sort of contradictory. I have no plans on going back into the wrestling business, and I have no desire to get back into the wrestling business. Also going on to say he didn't take TNA seriously until Dixie Carter actually called him and said that TNA's relationship with Spike is intriguing, but that TNA has a specific vision, and they are unclear to themselves about that vision. His final statement summarizing was, TNA is looking to serve too many masters, and you have to have a long-range plan in this industry. That from Paul Heyman just earlier today at MMAfighting.com.
Well, I have to, start off by saying that I have no idea what goes on in those meetings at TNA.
You probably don't want to either, do you?
I don't. I choose not to take part. I choose not to go down that path. Like, I don't want to get involved in booking. I don't want to, I want to stay away from that as much as possible. I want to wrestle. And I want a director to come to me and say, here's what I need you to do.
Right.
Here's, some bullet points. Get there for me. That's what I want to do.
And you
so
want
I
to
don't
sell
know
t-shirts.
what was said, or what is currently going on behind the scenes at TNA. All I can say is that I've seen what Paul Heyman can do firsthand down at OVW. I know for a fact that Paul Heyman keeps up with pop culture more than any human being I know.
Yeah.
On any given day, I've had conversations with him where my head literally spins because he starts talking about all these different things going on right now that,
And Paul Heyman's a bit intense regardless of what he's talking about.
Well, I love the man.
Yeah.
And he knows what's going on. He knows what's popular right now. He knows what people are going to bite on. I dare say that he was ahead of the curve, and Tommy Dreamer was in on this too. But they were ahead of the curve with the whole Kevin Thorne thing with the vampires.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'm not saying that was a home run or anything,
right.
But I'm just saying he knows what's going to hit. He knows what's going to be popular. So, would I like to see him? Yes. But would I like for everybody to get along? And, I'd like for everybody to get along. I don't know if all those people can coexist at this point in TNA. I'm not sure, I would like for that to happen.
That's a lot.
I like all those people, and I respect all those people. But
that's a lot of people to coexist.
You want the real Hulk Hogan Twitter guy to just be nice, huh?
Yeah, whoever that is. Yeah.
Mr. Anderson, we'd like to ask, where were you last Wednesday about... No, just kidding. Were you anywhere near your communication device? What's your take on that whole bizarre situation? You got... Let's spell it out. You got this guy who goes on Twitter as the real Hulk Hogan a day or so after Eric Bischoff says Hogan's going to be launching a Twitter and Facebook page. The morning of, Twitter and Bischoff and Bubba both endorse the page as being Hulk Hogan on Twitter. Hulk Hogan says obviously some Hulk Hogan-esque things right away in the morning, and then things go real south from there as he announced that both he and Eric Bischoff are leaving TNA Wrestling. And then, a lot more was said. Nobody's happy. Dixie's doing the wrong thing. Dixie's listening to the wrong people. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. And that drama was a fun one to watch on Wednesday, but a troubling one all at the same time.
I think it was Dixie Carter.
There you have it, folks. So it was a promotional stunt, huh?
You know what? No, I don't know. But I'd like to know who it is.
By the way, I left out one important part. The person claimed to be a current TNA star and claimed to have inside information and claimed to be speaking for everyone in the locker room. And when that, obviously, that got a big hole blown in it when they claimed to be Chris Daniels, and Chris Daniels then spoke out and said, "Of course, it's not me."
Right. I mean,
there's no way Chris Daniels would ever. No, it's not Chris Daniels.
What is your take on the whole Twitter, Facebook thing? You like it, dislike it?
The Twitter, Facebook thing?
Yeah.
Ken loves it.
I love it. You know, it kept me somewhat in the mix while I had my little time off, while I had my,
I believe you launched your Facebook and your Twitter page just after leaving WWE.
At the request of the man sitting right next to you there.
There you go.
That was one of the first things he told me. He was one of the first people that I called, and I said, hey, I got fired. He said, launch a Facebook and a Twitter and a MySpace and all that stuff.
Yeah, what does he do? He tweets out the family Easter egg shirt photo. Yeah, thanks, pal. Yeah, the Easter photo.
Tremendous. If you haven't seen it, go look through my history.
I don't think you want to see it. Those shirts are full.
It is tremendous.
Hash mark tremendous, that is. Mm-hmm.
Ken, we're going to take a time out, and when we come back, we want to talk about last Thursday's whole effing show in which you were prominently featured. We also want to hear your take on some of the latest movies, and what your thoughts are on Bound for Glory coming up in a couple of months from TNA Wrestling. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report, live Monday night, August 16, 2010 on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, PWRshow.com, and Blog Talk Radio. We're also on the ESPN app for your iPhone. We also have a PWR app.
Where the hell are we?
Exclusive content and everything else. I almost said that, Tillman, so careful what you say in my ear. We are...
He's whispering in your ear again?
We're happy to welcome our guest, who's with us right now. David, you're just evil at times. You know that?
I'm not. Thanks, Ken. I know Ken's got my back.
Our guest, Mr. Anderson, Ken Anderson from TNA Wrestling. Welcome back on the show.
Was that a good experience, sir, Ken?
What was it? It was a wonderful experience. Kids, you don't have to drink to have a good time.
There you go. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Damien? Are we doing the thumbs up segment of the show?
Yes, that's what I was trying to throw to you.
Ken, I got to say, you are one hell of a husband.
Yeah.
Because you're now going to share with the world your Eat, Love, and Prayer movie review.
Oh, I have to tell you that I was very cynical going in.
Oh,
and I looked at it, I look at every movie now from obviously from a little different standpoint. I'm kind of analyzing what everybody does. And there was some tremendous acting, and it was actually one of those movies that you think it's just going to be a dumb chick flick, and it ended up being a pretty good movie. I would give it, I'd say 8 out of 10.
Wow.
I might have to, I don't care. People can pound on their chests all they want. I can go to a chick flick, and then I can come home and, have a couple beers and watch football with my wife at the same time. So, after I went to see that movie with her, I got so many texts. Oh, hand in your man card. Oh, that's it.
Well, what was most impressive to me is I saw you leaving the theater on TMZ, and you're wearing your a-hole T-shirt. I thought that was freaking great.
Tremendous. However, I wasn't able to go see The Expendables.
How was that? How was Austin?
No, I wasn't able
to
see
see it. Yeah. Or that what's the other movie that came out? A lot of people are talking about that was good. That the Stephen Fisher Price.
Fisher Price.
I don't know.
Toy Story 3?
No, the movie with the kid from Adventureland, I think.
Yeah, that's how good it is, Damien. No one knows what it's called.
Not good. I just watched Shutter Island today.
Pilgrim vs. the World?
Yes, that. Yes, I heard that was pretty good too. I haven't seen it. I just watched Shutter Island today for the first time. I still don't get it.
I have tried to watch that movie 5 times.
I don't understand.
I have spent probably $50 to try to see that movie. Renting it at hotels and falling asleep.
Yeah.
Renting it on my iPad, falling asleep, waking up and realizing that the 24 hours is expired and can no longer watch.
Why don't you just buy it for $20?
You know, why didn't I do that, David?
Can't you just download it on your iPad there? And it expires,
I keep thinking, I'm just going to rent it, you know, because I don't know if I'm going to like it, so I don't know if I want to keep it.
Well, I know what a lot of people did like, and that was last week's presentation of TNA Wrestling on Thursday night on Spike TV. It was the whole effing show. David, I think you named that show, didn't you, based on your little slip-up a minute ago?
I did name that show.
and the debut of TNA Reaction right afterwards, a good night of wrestling, and TNA presenting 2 hours pay-per-view quality. Now, it was a little weird, though, Ken, because it was right after a pay-per-view, so a little bit of a mixed message there. But strong numbers for the show and strong matches, including you involved in a matchup between Matt Morgan and the Pope.
Well, I think that, you know, the way that things worked out, they decided kind of last-minute thing to have the ECW guys, the former ECW guys, you know, have their pay-per-view. And so they still wanted to give the regular TNA guys an opportunity to have those, you know, caliber of matches. So I think that's why they did what they did, and they tested something out. You know what? I have no, no problem here with me as far as a company taking risks and trying things out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but at least they tried, you know.
Well, all the feedback for the Impact from last Thursday was extremely well, especially an amazing outing between Beer Money and the Motor City Machine Guns, the fifth of that series, and some good wrestling. Now, there is some...
In my opinion, those guys have consistently stolen the show for the past 5 or 6 weeks. Beer Money and the Motor City Machine Guns have phenomenal outings every time.
And you know what's funny is at the same time, we get a lot of feedback from people saying tag team wrestling's dead.
It is on one channel. It is. But, I mean, you know what?
They got new tag belts tonight.
You could compare Machine Guns and Beer Money to Hart Foundation versus Bulldogs.
Dynasty? Oh, fine. Oh, okay, of old, yes. Yeah. Absolutely you can.
That good.
Matilda, no Matilda?
No Matilda.
All right.
No, yeah. I thought it was really good. And you know what? The reaction show, big fan of that.
Very well.
I love that stuff. To me, I think wrestling should have gone to that years ago. I'm so sick and tired of I'm standing right here with Mr. Anderson, who just fought Matt Morgan, and what are your reactions to that? Like, it's just so cheesy. They
almost
have the cheesy
vintage-ish
lighting in the background. It doesn't feel real, and that stuff to me feels real, and it's what's missing from wrestling right now.
And it's distinctly different from anything we've ever seen from wrestling. Now, we did learn, I think Eric Bischoff said recently, it was a 10-week deal with Spike TV to do that show. And last week it flowed very well because you had the beatdown at the end of the show, and it rolled right into...
strawberry syrup beatdown.
Right in, yeah, that was... All right, now, I got to say, RVD, okay, I get it, Abyss attacked him and all that stuff at the end of the show. That was a lot of blood. It came on screen, I'm like, oh, come on. And not a scar to be found. But I get it. It was sold nicely. But
it's because the nails are so sharp. That's why. It doesn't leave a scar.
You couldn't see them.
Yeah.
It allowed them to.
Well, there was so much blood there you couldn't see that's what it was. It was the blood was covering up the...
A seamless transition right into reaction. Getting another hour out of it, and good ratings for reaction as well. Getting another hour out of TV on Thursday. Now, one other thing Paul Heyman said in that interview earlier tonight was that there's too much focus on ratings in wrestling today, in this day and age. And we still even hear it. A lot of people compare the ratings of Impact to Raw, when in reality, there isn't a comparison.
You know, I just think that the ratings are so outdated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's an accurate depiction of, God knows how many houses have those Nielsen rating boxes or whatever.
Right.
And it doesn't take into consideration, it still doesn't take into consideration how many people DVR and watch it later, or am I misinformed on that?
No, it doesn't. You do, in some cases, get DVR numbers weeks later.
I mean, there are shows that I have on my DVR that I don't watch for a month. You know, I just don't have time to do it. But I still watch it. And, weren't ratings devised to, assist with commercials?
Right.
Well, people don't watch commercials anymore. They fast forward through them.
Right. It's a burden to watch commercials now.
I even, I'll start a show a half an hour late.
Just to burn through the commercial.
Just to burn through the
I
commercial.
do the exact same thing.
Now,
Absolutely.
you mentioned your DVR. I think a lot of people would be interested in this. The 5 top programs right now on your DVR are?
Oh, boy.
On my DVR?
Yes.
You can lie, Ken. You can lie.
Well, obviously our show, TNA Wrestling.
Uh-huh.
TNA Reaction.
Uh-huh.
True Blood.
Uh-huh.
Entourage.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And I hate to say this, but, my wife has to have a little bit of control around here. Bethany getting married.
Who?
Exactly. Bethany,
That's a show?
I guess her name's Hoppy now. I'm ashamed that I know that.
Yeah, we'll edit this part out, Ken.
One of the girls from the Real Housewives of one of the Housewives shows.
Yeah.
And she got her own spin-off now, and she's actually she's pretty funny. So
she's from, I think, New Jersey.
Not D.C. or Atlanta or where else have they been?
Jersey. She's from I believe she's from Jersey.
See, I watch The View. I'm up on that stuff.
Well, now, Dave, you're not married, so I think that's kind of weird. I have an excuse.
Hey, I'm just trying to be cultured, my man.
Ken, do you?
I bet you Paul Heyman watches The View.
Well, see, there you go.
See?
See?
When
he watches everything. I'm telling you, the guy's up on everything.
When you watch TNA on TV, do you break down your own match and go, I wish I would have done that there?
Absolutely. I've always done that, though. And I generally hate my matches. I've only had a handful of matches in my entire career where I've actually watched the DVR afterwards and said I was happy with that. A small handful. I probably can count them all in one hand. Some of them, after I watch them a couple times, I'm all right. I was just being hypercritical, but I'm usually pretty ultra-critical. And Dave knows I'm pretty ultra-critical of everything. So
there's nothing wrong with that. But Ken, you got to admit, a couple weeks ago when you were watching your match, you wondered where the hell did that kid go?
Did that make it out to the IWC?
No. Yeah, it did.
Not in its entirety.
Well, no, but
there was for those people who don't know, I suppose I should.
Absolutely, you have to. It's
what
too good of
happened
a story.
Mm-hmm. I wrestled a match against Matt Morgan, and I beat him with the mic check. 1, 2, 3. I get my hand raised. My eyes are closed. I feel my hand being raised. Then I feel a clothesline from behind. Matt clotheslines me from behind, starts beating me with my microphone, yada, yada, yada. I go to the back, and Jimmy Hart goes, "Who was that little kid? Jumped in the ring with you there." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, that little boy just jumped in the ring with you. Come on. He's like, and I ran out to the truck and watched as they were trying.
Wait. Whoa. You weren't the guy that got suspended for going to the truck then, were you?
I didn't go in there and yell at anybody. No, I went out to the truck, and they were pouring through these different camera angles trying to figure out where this kid came from. And this kid had come over the guardrail while I was getting my hand raised. The referee raised my hand. Slick raised my hand. And I was just, I had my eyes closed, and I was kind of looking up for my microphone. And he let go of my hand, and what I felt was him grab my hand again and then let it go. But it was this little kid slid in the ring behind me, grabbed my frickin' hand, pointed at me, and then Matt comes and clotheslines me from behind, and this kid looks like he just pooped himself. It was awesome. And then Matt just kind of looked at him like, he was kind of jerked a little bit. And that kid just scooted out of the ring. I never seen anybody scoot out of the ring.
So it's because of that match is why TNA hired those 2 new security guards.
Ken, we're going to take a timeout, our final timeout. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report with Ken Anderson, live
Mr.
on Mr. Anderson.
I will whoop you.
I don't train well. On 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Our guest right now is, I got this right now, Mr. Anderson of TNA Wrestling.
It took you 20 minutes.
Mr. Anderson is...
he had to get it right because Ken's going to be here on Sunday.
Right. I don't want to get beat up again.
I have to say, thank you very much, Damien. I appreciate that. I'm just giving you a hard time, really. And I know there are some wrestlers out there that are very protective of their.
Protective.
I wasn't saying that.
Mr. Anderson is going to be in town Sunday.
Yeah.
Romines, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. All the information is available right now at pwrshow.com and blizzardbrawl.com. You want to go ahead and register for that in advance.
You got to get there early.
Make sure you get your seat. However, you can also just show up 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Mr. Anderson,
raise your hand and then ask the question.
What do you have? I did raise my hand. What do you have in store for Milwaukee on Sunday when you finally come back?
Just signing some autographs.
Well, there's going to be Anderson's T-shirts, 8x10s, beer koozies.
Ooh. We've got pictures. We've got posters. We've got Matthew TNA on my Twitter keeps asking me daily.
Yeah.
Sometimes thrice daily.
And when you don't answer, then he's bugging me about it. So let's bring
how
the
he can find a daggum TNA No Surrender book.
Wait, and who's the guy that takes up the whole poster on No Surrender?
Just some guy.
I think that's how you headline a pay-per-view, is when you own the poster.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
and also coming up on Thursday's Impact, I believe that we see you take one step closer to headlining that pay-per-view.
Hey.
I didn't say anything.
We didn't spoil.
Yeah, kinda.
That's what we do.
The tease, it's all there.
Spoiler alert.
Bound for Glory, though, is coming up October 10th, 10-10-10. PWR is going to be there in full force. This is TNA's biggest show. I think your first Bound for Glory with TNA.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts going into it? It's going to be down there in Florida, right on the beach,
Daytona
at the
Beach.
Ocean Center.
Kevin Nash's backyard.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. I really am. This company, I've only been here for a short period of time, but I feel like it's a very tight-knit community, contrary to what the real Hulk Hogan says.
That's the real Hulk Hogan on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter. I get that there's some animosity from some people.
As there is in any company.
Any company. The post office. I'm
not sure if that's the right comparison.
At Budweiser, there's some animosity between employees. Anyway, no, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the fact that it's going to be in Daytona.
It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
I understand there's some block party, all kinds of stuff planned, not all the information released yet. And
hopefully, I get a good match on 10-10-10. Hopefully the cards will line up and I'll get a good
I'm looking forward to sitting down with the Pope and hashing things out.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to introduce you to the Pope.
I think that'll be hot.
I got to make sure the camera's on when that happens.
We definitely have to,
Hug it out,
I'll have to pull out the flip cam for that.
It's all been one big misunderstanding.
Oh, yeah, as always with you.
All Ken had to do was win. Okay? That was it.
February 14, 2010 is when this all began.
Yeah.
Ken Anderson and Mr. Anderson, we're just about out of time here. Thank you so much for coming on. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Romines on South 27th Street in Milwaukee. And, of course, this Thursday night on TNA Impact, Mr. Anderson of TNA Wrestling, our guest tonight. Thanks for tuning in to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and also PWRShow.com. We'll see you next Monday night.